This video response is going to go out to Michelle Guido, and that's because you uploaded a video entitled "Victim Blaming News Headlines Still a Thing in 2018. I watched your video, and this is my commentary on your video. Now, the first thing I would like to say is that I found that the headlines that you quoted in your video were just as abhorrent to me as apparently they are to you. And the second thing I would like to say is that I like to empower ladies, whether young or old, because I don't want them to become victims of anything, whether it be mail fraud, identity theft, or anything else. I don't want ladies, whether young or old, to become victims of anything. That is a fact. You know this fact. I've established this fact with you before, and I'm establishing it again. However, I did discover an error in your presentation, and I'm going to present my counter-argument here. But keep in mind that after I present this error, that I'm going to show you ways to try to keep those headlines from ever appearing in any newspaper ever again. And more importantly, to show you how to keep ladies and even gentlemen from becoming victims of practically anything. And I really want to do this. I am very motivated to do this. I have a lot of female friends, so I don't want them to become victims of anything. Alright, so what is your error? Well, the error comes down to this. You said something to the effect of that ladies cannot cause guys to do anything. I wonder about that. Now, this is where I disagree with you. Here's the question. Can a lady provoke a guy to commit perilous acts? Well, I'm now going to present my evidence right down here. There's a web article. I want you to read it. I have a hyperlink to that right down here in the description below. Go ahead and read it, and then I'll tell you the rest. I can wait. Okay. Now then, what is my interpretation of what Judge Lawrence Moniz, what his verdict was? And if I mispronounced his name, I apologize in advance. But what is my interpretation of his verdict in this particular presentation? Well, my interpretation is that it is true that a lady can provoke a guy to commit perilous acts. But it doesn't have to be that way. No, it doesn't. And the first thing I'm going to do to try to prevent this from ever happening to anybody ever again is I'm going to say something here. Okay? So, what am I going to say to guys who are at this very moment contemplating such atrocious acts? Well, this is what I'm going to say to them. And you can quote me on this, and hopefully what I'm about to say will cause these headlines to disappear forever and cause ladies, both young and old, to no longer be victims of anything. If a guy performs an action against a lover that has jilted them, and that action causes the police to intervene on that action, then the guy still loses. He didn't win anything. He may have won a battle, but he didn't win the war. No matter what he does to the lover that jilted him, it doesn't make any difference. If the police finally get involved, and eventually they usually do, he still loses, no matter what. Now, having said all that, what is a guy to do when a lover jilts him? Well, a better way to handle the situation, and it's not the best way, but it's a better way to handle the situation. A better way to handle the situation is to improve yourself. Get yourself a better education. Get yourself a higher paying job. Start your own corporation. Change your looks. Make yourself as desirable to ladies as you possibly can. Because if you do all this, then you could cause personal regret. Not in a formal way where you go after the lover that just jilted you, but by making yourself that popular with all the ladies, then the lady that just jilted you may feel personal regret for not keeping you. And in that case, you actually win. Because her feeling personal regret is not your responsibility. Okay? As long as you don't shove it into her face, it's not your responsibility. If she feels personal regret, that's her problem, not yours. And this kind of thing won't send you into jail. Learning something new will not send you into jail. Getting a higher paid job will not send you to jail. Forming your own corporation usually does not send you to jail. Changing your attire, making yourself more attractive to females, does not send you to jail. Usually. So, there's the better answer. But I've got an even better answer than that. Why not pick a better spouse in the first place? Be a little more selective and choosy. With a better education, you can be a little more selective and choosy. And maybe you can find a better spouse before you get into any mess like this in the first place. And this also applies to ladies, both young and old. Picking better spouses in the first place makes these kind of problems not be there in the first place. And I believe that empowering women, or ladies, I prefer to call them ladies rather than women because it's kind of a more polite terminology. But empowering ladies, both young and old, with education, and that's what I do on this YouTube channel all the time. It's one of the many reasons why I got onto YouTube in the first place. When you do that, when you empower them, they are less likely to become victims of anything. And if they're less likely to become victims, then if there are no more victims because they've now been empowered because of this education, then there's no victim blaming. You can't blame something that isn't there. That'd be like blaming air. Doesn't work. And slowly, these headlines should start disappearing. And you can quote me on all this, and more importantly, you can share this with everybody. I welcome you to do that. And perhaps we can make these headlines disappear once and for all, because I want them to disappear. I'm one of the most motivated people you'll ever meet. And I am very motivated to get these headlines out of the newspapers once and for all. And if it means empowering every single lady on the planet, both young and old, then that's exactly what we'll do. And let's empower all the guys, too. Let's do it through education. Let's give them a higher social status, and therefore prevent these problems from ever happening in the first place. That's my solution. You may not agree with my solution. You may not agree with any of this presentation, but I will tell you this. I did have a course in psychology in college. I furthermore did further research on psychology, on the topic of psychology, through reading several books. So I do know my psychology pretty well. Therefore, that's all I've got to say on this particular topic. Alright, I would love to see your video response to this. I'd like to see what you have to say. Hopefully we can agree on most points. I know we're not going to agree on everything, but I just do not believe that changing headlines is going to make this problem go away. Only through a comprehensive educational program can we make these kind of headlines disappear once and for all. And that's what I'm here to do. So, again, I'd like to hear from you. Alright, and for the rest of my students, there will be more videos very, very soon, so I would like for you to stay tuned.